Hello! I did not think I would film this, but you know what? What the hell? I'm gonna do another library book sale haul, but this is before I get into the library, and if you're wondering about this, I'm an actual vampire and this prevents me from turning into ash. But I got a little bookmark the last time I went to my local public library's book sale, and today is that day. And I don't have my microphone with me, so I apologize if the audio is really weird. And of course I cannot be able to do things without doing them in the most chaotic way possible, because I didn't find out until around like maybe 15 minutes ago that it was the members only day for the sale, so it's open to the public tomorrow, but for people who have a library card, it's open today.
Hey, this is future Liza here. When I tell you I was completely wrong, but I will get to that in a little bit.
At 2, it is currently 1:32 p.m. And yeah, I very quickly had to run back and go get my library card, which is in here. But I want to give the list of what I am looking for so you guys can be able to see the expectation versus reality. So what I am looking for is mainly Anne Rice books or any classic Gothic literature books. So that's mainly what I am looking for, but there is something happening and I probably need to go. So I will see you when I do the haul. Hello, this is the haul portion of the video, and I honestly don't know how much time has passed from that last clip of me at the library book sale versus me now talking about it. I think it's been 2 weeks? I really don't know. Time is not real. Time is just merely a concept to me currently, and also it doesn't help that I have been on the mend because whatever is in the air right now is actively trying to kill me, so I have been sick for the past little bit, but I am getting better. I am at like 80 to 90% recovered, so we're good, but also I apologize if my voice is not all there because of that. I have been living off of water and elderberry tea because of the only two things that are helping right now. I did in fact go to the library book sale, but I was wrong about one of the things when I said, oh, this is the sale that's before the public gets allowed in, so all I needed was my library card, right? Well, I was wrong. It was a completely separate card. In order to access the sale the day early, you are not a member of the library, you have to be a friend of the library. So I had to pay for a membership card for the Friends of the Library, and I did. It was about $10. So basically this little golden sheet of paper allows me access into the library book sales the day before they open to the public, which is really neat. I did stick to my list of finding Gothic horror novels and anything written by Anne Rice, and let me tell you, I was very successful, and I did use my little bag from the haul video I posted previously, but I didn't get to fully use it, and this is why. This is why. I really took myself out. But yeah, I don't want to do that. But I was very successful, and now my collection of Anne Rice novels has nearly doubled. So I am so excited to show all of these to you, but I'm going to show you my collection so far so you can see how much the collection has grown since this library book sale haul. And also let me put this down so I won't take myself out by a huge pile of books. So I currently have 5 books. The first 4 are Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, and Tale of the Body Thief, and these are all the mass market editions. And I also have Pandora from my previous library book sale haul. These are all the ones that I have so far, but I got so lucky because as I was going through the room, and I didn't film anything because I was in book hunter mode, I ended up coming across a whole bunch of Anne Rice novels, and they were not these. They were not the mass market editions. They were the older editions from the 90s and the early 2000s, and I was so happy. I will be using my mass market editions to compare because I did find some duplicates, but they were editions that I've never seen before, so I got them. I'm so excited. And I also did get 2 Yes, 2 books that are not Anne Rice books, but are still vampire books because, honey, I've been obsessed with vampires since I was 13, come on. So I'm just gonna jump right in, and I'm gonna start with the one on top, which is the blue edition of Interview with the Vampire, and I believe this is a 1992 copy. And I say 1992 because it has the text author of Tale of the Body Thief, which Tale of the Body Thief was published in 1992. And my ring light is not really communicating very well, so I'm going to do some close-up shots of this, but this is such a beautiful cover, and the letters on the sides are raised so you can feel the texture of them, but it's super duper small, and you can tell it's been very well loved because of the spine. But this is such a beautiful book cover, and to compare with my mass market edition, they're actually quite different. They're very different, but I like the fact that they're a little different. But they're about roughly the same size as each other. But they're so beautiful. And this, I also will include prices because I forgot to do that the last time. Any type of fiction which were hardcover or paperback were $1 to $2. I believe this was $1. This was the first one that I found. It appeared right underneath my hand, and I was like, oh my god, there's Anne Rice. I also did find some things interesting online with this edition because I found 2 other listings online for this book for sale, and they said that those were the 1976 editions. However, like the first editions of Interview the Vampire have this gold foil on them and they're hardcover, but Beltane Books, who did the publishing of this version, were the first ones to do the paperback versions in 1977. I'm not sure of the age of this one, but I'm going to be guessing that it's after 1992 because it does say Tale of the Body Thief on it, and it wouldn't say that if it wasn't a 1992 copy or a post-1992 copy. I ended up learning that this is actually a pretty common cover, but I've never seen one of these before, especially with the blue, because I'm so used to the mass market editions being the red colorway, which I still think is beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful, but I'm so used to the blue being associated with the Vampire Lestat. That's the color variation on the mass market editions. Now we're going through the paperbacks right now. I ended up finding a copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker. I already have a copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker. The cover got me really good, and also this one was also $1. I also found later on, and this was after I purchased it, but it has a message on the inside from a teacher that says, "Happy birthday wishes to you, my dearest Thomas. I am so proud of you and all of your hard work. Be sure to come see me next year. Miss Morgan, 2004. I think that is so precious, and I think that this was a gift from a teacher to a student. I love whenever teachers actually do their job first and foremost, but also just encouraging students to pursue their hobbies and pursue the things that they love. I've had quite a few teachers that have been like that in my academic career, and they're the ones I remember the most fondly. So and also, like, this is the reason why I love when I'm able to, it's to get secondhand books, is because they have a life before you and they meant something to the previous owner who owned it. And finding little things that are inside a book, such as bookmarks or notes or even something else, which is in one of the other books that I got, which we'll get to eventually. But the fact that, like, it had a life before it came into your life, and it'll have a life after your life, I think is so precious, and there's something so human about it that I adore and that I love. But yes, I got another copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker because I thought the cover art was really pretty, and also I've read/listened to audiobooks of Dracula so many times that I love Dracula so much. The next one is Memnoch the Devil, The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. There was a whole... Okay, I ended up getting this one and about 4 other Vampire Chronicles novels because they were all in a stack together. There also was a hardcover copy of Pandora in that stack, but I already have Pandora from my previous library book haul. This is Memnoch. This is Memnoch the Devil. I'm gonna get some better footage of what the book actually looks like because my ring light is not behaving currently, but it is such a, oh my god, such a glorious cover. And I'm not sure what painting this is that was used on the inside cover, but that is, what a striking painting. This also has a message on the inside, very similar to the one that is in Dracula, but is to someone named Alice, but I will get you some close-ups, whatever. See? Right there. And it says, Alice, I hope you like it. Happy birthday. Hope you have a good time, from Jesse and Sharon. I have no clue who would gift Memnoch the Devil, but honestly, you are the most baller person. And it does have a thing on the inside, which I will read. Anne Rice's extraordinary new novel, The Vampire Lestat, Outsider, Candy Monster, Hero Wanderer, is at last offered the chance to be redeemed. He is brought into the direct confrontation with both God and the devil, and into the land of death. We are in New York. The city is blanketed in snow. The whiteness, Lestat is searching for Dora, the beautiful and charismatic daughter of a drug lord, the woman who aroused Lestat's tenderness as no mortal ever has. I mean, there is Louis, but, you know. We continue. While torn between his vampire passions and his overwhelming love for Dora, Lestat is confronted by the most dangerous adversaries he has yet known. He is snatched from the world itself by the mysterious Memnoch, who claims to be the devil. He is invited to be a witness at the creation. He is taken like the ancient prophets into the heavenly realm and is ushered into purgatory. He must decide if he can believe in the devil or in God, and finally he must decide which, if either, he will serve. In the first 4 Vampire Chronicles, Anne Rice summoned up for us worlds that are fantastic and distant, making them as resonant, real, and immediate as our own. Now, in her most daring and darkest novel, she takes us with Lestat into the mythical world that is the most important to us, into the realms of our own theology. So yes, this novel deals with a lot of religion, and I don't know much about what goes on in Memnoch except for Lestat has his eye stolen at one point. He also drinks the blood of Jesus.
What did he say?
Very excited to see what is going to happen in this novel, because of not only you have to choose between God or the devil, because that is the type of morality argument that Lestat has throughout the Vampire Chronicles series, like, am I good? Am I evil? Am I a minion of the devil? Not me mentioning devil's minion, but you know. I honestly want to see what chaos Lestat gets up to in this novel, because if there's a book that Lestat is being the POV of, it's gonna get chaotic eventually. That's just a given. Also, I completely forgot to mention, but Memnoch is number 5 in the series. It's directly after Tale of the Body Thief. But for some reason, I just completely forgot to mention that that was the 5th book in the series, but I thought that would be important to know. On to the next one, we have The Vampire Armand, also by Anne Rice. When I tell you, I found a whole entire stack of nothing but Anne Rice books, and I low-key freaked out, and I kind of had that moment of like, holy shit! I couldn't say because there were a bunch of tiny children around, but a very lovely library assistant saw me trying to grab as many on the table as I could, and very kindly set them aside for me, even though I kind of sat there and was like, I am so sorry. It's like, no, you're fine. Reading is good. Love seeing people getting passionate about reading. I'm like, yeah, totally. The cover art that is used, and I'll probably I'll get some nice footage for you, but I'm not sure which painting this is, because this looks like a Botticelli painting. I don't have the reference to say for sure if that is a Botticelli painting, but it looks like a Botticelli painting. And the thing is, I talk about my love for Lestat as a character so much that I think most people know that I really like Lestat as a character, and I relate to Lestat a lot, which may be a little cause for concern, but I promise it's nothing to be too concerned about. But I also really like Armand as a character. He is such a gremlin, but with religious trauma, which I can highly relate to that religious trauma. He's such a tragic character, and he deserves nothing that happens to him. In this book, you get to learn what happens to him. Even though in the Vampire Lestat you get a little glint of what happens to him, but this is like the full thing. And I did look inside this book and there was nothing in there, no notes or anything like in Memnoch, nor did I get my Dracula copy from the previous owner. Also, in order of the books, this is the 6th novel, so this comes right after Memnoch the Devil. But I will read the little blurb. The latest installment of the Vampire Chronicles, Anne Rice summons up dazzling worlds to bring us the story of Armand, eternally young with the face of a Botticelli angel. Armand, who first appeared in all his dark glory more than 20 years ago. Sorry, I just realized. Wow. Now we go with Armand across the centuries to Kiev Rus of his boyhood, so Kiev, which would be in modern-day Ukraine, a ruined city under Mongol domain, and to the ancient Constantinople where Tartar raiders sell him into slavery. In the Venice of the Renaissance, where we see him emotionally and intellectually enthralled to the great vampire Marius, who masquerades among humankind as a mysterious reclusive painter who will bestow upon Armand the gift of vampiric blood. As the novel races to its climax, moving through the scenes of luxury and elegance, of ambush, fire, and devil worship to 19th century Paris and to today's New Orleans, we see its eternal, vulnerable, and romantic hero forced to choose between his twilight immortality and the salvation of his immortal soul. I think my heart is gonna break when I eventually get to this one, but I'm very excited because my heart broke whenever I read the Vampire Lestat, and the Vampire Lestat is my favorite, one of my favorites of the Vampire Chronicles series, even though I love Interview with the Vampire, but the Vampire Lestat stole my heart. I honestly, I can't wait to read this, but also I know I'm going to be emotionally damaged by this, but the cover is absolutely beautiful, and I also did get this for $2. The Memnoch book was also for $2 as well. So happy to have this in my collection because I have seen these online, especially through thrift books, for like $20 a piece. And the fact that I got this for like $2 through a library book sale is just so surprising to me. We have 4 more. So I'm gonna dip my hand into here with my eyes closed to kind of keep this interesting. Oh! Okay, this is Blood Canticle by Anne Rice, and I'm gonna get some beautiful up-close shots because I love all the covers that we've had so far. Like, not to say all these covers are like ugly covers, because these are all beautiful, but this is so gorgeous because look at her. She is so genuinely beautiful. I love the painting that was chosen. I love the painting. And I love this detail on the cover where you have the spot where it says Anne Rice and then it dips down into the circle where it says the Vampire Chronicles, and it has almost like this halo around it that reminds me of the All-Seeing Eye. I'll put a picture on the screen of the All-Seeing Eye so you can kind of see what I mean. And the spine is so beautiful. This is so gorgeous. This is the 10th novel? Yes, this is the 10th novel in the Vampire Chronicles series, and this was published in 2003, which is quite funny because this book is as old as me, because I was born in 2003. This concludes the crossover storyline that starts in Blackwood Farm, where you have the crossover between Vampire Chronicles and Mayfair Witches, because Anne Rice also did write an entirely separate series called The Lives of the Mayfair Witches, which I have not read yet, but it does cross over with the Vampire Chronicles in Blackwood Farm, and there's a few other novels, including this one. I'm so excited, even though I feel like I need to read Blackwood Farm first, because this does conclude the crossover storyline, but maybe I can read it as standalone. That's also possible. I ended up finding this as I was going through all these to see if there was anything left inside, and it is a little tiny piece of paper which has a little seal on the front of it that says Arizona State University, and as soon as you open it, it reads that someone named Alma Alvarez Smith was a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Justice and Social Inquiry at Arizona State University in 2008. This was someone's consummation invitation, and you can fully see the full thing right here. And I thought that was so cool, and also it's very fitting. Invitation for someone receiving a doctorate degree in philosophy would end up in an Anne Rice novel. That seems way too fitting. There is a blurb on the inside for what this book is about, and I will get to it in a second. I'm gonna skip the little portion where it's praising Anne Rice because, yes, she was very, very great, but we've also had that, I think, 2 separate times already. Blood Canticle consists of Lestat's passionate quest for redemption, goodness, and the love of Rowan Mayfair. Here are all the brilliantly conceived principal characters that make up Anne Rice's world of vampires and witches. Mona Mayfair, who's come to Blackwood Farm to die and is instead brought into the realm of the undead. Rowan Mayfair, brilliant neurosurgeon and witch who finds herself dangerously drawn to Lestat. Her husband, Michael Curry, hero of the Mayfair Chronicles, who seeks Lestat's help with the temporary madness of his wife Patsy, a country western singer who returns to avenge her death on the hands of her son Quentin Blackwood. And here is the spirit of Julian Mayfair, guardian of the family, determined to torment Lestat eternally for what he has done to Mona. The riddle of the 5,000-year-old Taltos? Okay, I was slightly mispronouncing it. It's Taltos. Okay, sorry. that got me so bad. The riddle of the 5,000-year-old Taltos involving Mona's child. And at the book center, the vampire Lestat, once the epitome of evil, now following the transformation set in motion with Memnoch the Devil, struggling with his vampirism and yearning for goodness, purity, and love as he contends with ghosts, legends, secrets, and the mystery of the Taltos. As he wrestles with the fate of his beloved Ronan Mayfair. Now, I do have a little bit of fear though, and I usually don't let people's opinions get to me very much. However, I do listen to the Articulate Coven podcast, and I've been a fan of their podcast for years, which is the unofficial podcast for anything Anne Rice, whether that be the books, the TV series, the upcoming Talamasca show.
Rest in peace, my granny, she got hit by a bazooka.
Mayfair witches, anything that has to do with Anne Rice and within the universe she's created, they cover it on their podcast. I have heard that this is not one of the best of the series, so I have a little bit of fear about it, but I think I could get through it, but I have a little bit of fear. I'll read anything once. I have a teensy bit of fear. I may have to start looking for the beginning books of this crossover storyline between the Vampire Chronicles and Mayfair Witches, which I believe starts with Blackwood Farm, but I could be entirely wrong. That is possible. But I also might start seeing if I could be able to find Mayfair Witches too, because I haven't read the Mayfair Witches yet. But knowing that they cross over with the Vampire Chronicles series is very, very fun. I'm very happy. Very, very happy. Oh, okay, so this is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. So I probably butchered her name horribly. I am so sorry. This book I ended up finding, and the thing is, I have seen this book, The Historian, be recommended on TikTok a lot, and I know that like Book Talk, most of the recommendations are not that great, but I kept seeing this one pop up saying that if you like vampires, if you like historical fantasy, if you like historical fiction and vampires, definitely go read this book. And I was like, okay, and I let it sit in the back of my mind, and I ended up finding this at the book sale. I was like, I'll take a chance on this, especially since this was $2, and also Blood Canticle and the Vampire Armand were also $2 as well. I forgot to mention that, but I'll mention it here. Also, it does have a map on the very opening cover, which I will say, if you ever plan on publishing a book that deals with characters traveling great distances or traveling to different places, please include a map. Please include a map, because I will be wondering halfway through, like, okay, where is this place located? Where is the relation of this place to this place? And the fact that you can be able to reference it right here just makes things so much easier. So if you're an author and you plan on doing that in your fantasy novel, please include a map. Please include a map. It's very useful. But my rant about maps inside of books aside. But this is Elizabeth Costello's first novel. This is her debut novel, and it is a historical fantasy mystery that reimagines the Dracula myth by linking the historical Count Dracula with Vlad the Impaler, who is a little known guy who you may know because he was very famous for shish kebabbing his enemies in the 15th century, and also he was a very powerful ruler of Wallachia, which is in modern day Romania, and he's also considered a hero in Romanian history because of his opposition towards the Ottoman Empire and the Ottomans. So yeah, very important dude. The story follows a young woman, a 16-year-old in the 1970s, who goes after her father after he is declared missing because he went off to go find his mentor in his mentor's writings and works, and she goes across Europe to find him and to uncover the truth of Dracula's existence, and also how the journey is interwoven with her father and her mentor's past experiences and their history, which I'm not gonna lie has me very excited, because have anything with vampires and anything with history, you got me. You got me real good. So I'm very excited for this one, and I've heard so many good things about it via TikTok. I'm gonna be very honest with you, I was very hesitant because it's not to say I'm not easily pleased, because I do get pleased. Book talk, I have a little bit of trust issues, to be very honest with you, because things can be very hit or miss. Because if there's a book that someone is saying like, oh, this is a really, really good book, I love this book, and then it's on level with Colleen Hoover, I'm like, no, that is not for me. Like, I know what I like, I know what I want, I know what I like, but sometimes things can be a little hit or miss. So I'm very excited to read this, and I also love that it starts with a note to the reader as if this character, and like we know that this is fictional, but the way in which that the author of the book is saying like, oh, I didn't mean to like write this as a story, like this happened when I was 16 and I'm a much older woman now, but also like I wouldn't be able to do this amount of research without all these different types of people, like making it sound like they know what they're talking about and that this person is a very accomplished person, but like it's fictional. But it draws you into the story, which I absolutely love. And I believe Edgar Allan Poe also did the same thing. And Nathaniel Hawthorne have also done very similar things with their short stories to draw the reader in. And I love that. And I love that I was able to make that connection and to be able to see an example like that in contemporary fiction, because this was, I believe this was published in 2005 or wait, hold on. Yes, this was published in 2005, but I love how that sort of tradition in literature kind of continues. It was quite popular in 19th century fiction, the idea of making it seem like you're very accomplished and like that your character like knows what they're doing to like draw the reader in. I love that still carries on in contemporary fiction. That is so cool. Next one we have is Tale of the Body Thief by Anne Rice, which I already do have a copy of Tale of the Body Thief, but it's the mass market edition, which let me tell you, this is so funny to me because like the size difference is so insane. Like how on earth is this possible? But I'm gonna give you a close-up of the cover because it is so pretty, and I love the way that it's silver all the way around the spine, and then it just fades into the front of the book, which I think is so beautiful. And then once you get to the back, you have a picture of Miss Anne Rice. R.I.P. Queen. R.I.P. Queen of Darkness. Now, Tale of the Body Thief, I've been meaning to read Tale of the Body Thief for the longest time because I've had a friend of mine who actually introduced me to Vampire Chronicles keeps telling me, hey, Liza, you need to get past Queen of the Damned because you're really gonna like Tale of the Body Thief. It's absolutely hysterical, you're gonna love it. I'm like, I know I'm probably gonna love it, but I still need to finish Queen of the Damned because I need to go in order. But I know the gist of basically what happens is that Lestat is depressed in his immortality, so he ends up finding a way with Raglan James. Actually, no, Raglan James ends up proposing to Lestat, well, I can switch bodies with you and you can become mortal if that's a little bit more exciting. And Lestat's like, yeah, sure. So they switch bodies. Raglan James has Lestat's immortal body, while Lestat has Raglan James's mortal body. And it just starts this wild goose chase of Lestat trying to get his body back. Because Raglan James is like, nope, no takesy backsies. Nope, you gotta deal with this. And Lestat having to go through the challenges of being in a mortal body again for the first time in 200 years, including some bodily processes, which I'm not gonna lie, is really funny just thinking about. And just knowing how Lestat is as a character, like, I don't know what happens in this book, but like, if Lestat gets sick, I just imagine he would be the type of person to just lay out on a couch just being like, I'm dying. And it's like, no, you're not. You have the flu. Get over it. Just chug some Tylenol and you'll be fine. I'm very excited to read this one because I've heard so many good things and so many... God. I feel like most of the time whenever something happens in the Vampire Chronicles series, most of the time it's because of like everybody else in the cast. Lestat, no! Lestat, oh yeah, Lestat, yes! He just causes all the chaos within the series, or like him making dumb decisions alters the course of the series. Which I absolutely love. But yes, I'm very excited to read this one, and I've been eyeing a copy, this specific copy with this specific cover for so long, and I cannot believe I found it. It was also $2 as well, which is such a bargain, to be very fair. But we have one more to go, and it's also an Anne Rice one, but I will get that one very quickly. We have one more at the very bottom of the box that nearly took me out at the very beginning of this video, and that is Vittorio the Vampire, which is part of the New Tales of the Vampire series, which is a 2-book series, which it includes Vittorio and Pandora, which I can't believe I have both of them now, which is super duper cool. This is a 1999 edition. So Vittorio the Vampire is about a vampire named Vittorio, who is a vampire in the Italian Age of Gold, educated in Florence at the Commesso de' Medici. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Italians, please do not come after me. Trained in knighthood at his father's mountaintop castle, Vittorio inhabits a world of courtly splendor and country pleasures, a world suddenly threatened when his entire family is confronted by an unholy power. In the midst of this upheaval, Vittorio is seduced by the vampire Ursula, the most beautiful of his supernatural Hey,
don't hurt yourself.
Vittorio is seduced by the vampire Ursula, the most beautiful of his supernatural enemies. He sets out in pursuit of vengeance, entering the nightmarish court of the Ruby Grail. Increasingly more enchanted and confused by his love for the mysterious Ursula, he finds himself facing demonic adversaries, war, and political intrigue. Against the backdrop of the wonders, both sacred and profane, the beauty and ferocity of Renaissance Italy, Anne Rice creates a passionate and a tragic legend of doomed young love and lost innocence. I'm so excited for this one because if there's one thing that I figured out within my time at university is that Anne Rice goes ham with the historical research, because I know that she did a lot of research in Florence, Italy, and there's even, and this is so cute, I love when authors do this, I love when they do little things like this, but there is the obvious dedications like to her family and people who have helped her out. But on the second one it says, this novel is dedicated by Vittorio to the people of Florence, Italy, which I think is so precious, and I think that's so cute. But she did a lot of research and spent a lot of time in Florence, Italy while she was writing this book. And I also know that she did a lot of research within European history and French history when it came to the vampire Lestat, because I ended up finding out while I was in a class called Diseases and Pandemics that one of the cemeteries that is used in the Vampire Lestat, and it's the cemetery where Armand and his satanic cult of vampires are inside of Paris. It's a cemetery that was used for plague victims. Because I saw it in one of my readings and I sat there and I was thinking, is this a Vampire Lestat reference? And then Googled it 2 seconds later. It was like, oh my god, this is a Vampire Lestat reference. I cannot remember the name in French, but it translates to Cemetery of the Holy Innocents. So yes, I'm very excited for this one because of not only the very intense historical research that she does to make her world so rich, but also it's another perspective, and also because this is one where Vittorio doesn't know the Articulate Coven, which is the vampires that you know of in the Vampire Chronicles: Lestat, Armand, Louis, Daniel, Marius, all of those vampires that we know and love. He doesn't know any of them. He's not connected to any of them. So I think that's going to make his story a little bit more interesting because we don't have that connection towards any vampires that we know of before. Yes, I'm so excited for this one, and I think the cover is beautiful. The cover is just so beautiful. Love. You never anticipate how heavy books are going to be, but here we go. So these are all the books that I got at this library book sale, and I'm not gonna lie, I think the haul was quite immaculate. I'm very proud of myself of this little haul, and I will say I did meet the mark with what I was looking for, and I did stick to the plan, even though I didn't necessarily plan to getting so many Anne Rice novels at the same time. But you know what? This brings me joy. This brings me joy and this brings me happiness. And even though we are going through uncertain times right now, luckily we have Anne Rice. And we have vampires. That is all of the books that I got at the library book sale, and they are all currently on my bed right now, which I will dramatically ruin the illusion. They are all right there. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed and were entertained, and if you want to like this video, if you want to leave a comment as to what was your favorite book, or like a book that was in here that you would love to read or is currently on your to-read list, or even a quote from your favorite book. And it could be any type of book. It could be fiction, non-fiction, manga, graphic novel even. Those also count. If you want to subscribe, you can absolutely subscribe. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that's cold. I didn't realize that was going to be cold. Thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye!